The Helena Independent Record reported that Forest Service lands in Montana would be used in exercises by foreign troops during the coming summer. The Patriot Report, in covering the story, stated that the arrival of foreign troops wouldn't have bothered American patriots if it wasn't for the fact that this scenario was uncovered years ago as a strategy to control and police American citizens. If an economic collapse occurs in the future along with civil violence and martial law, UN troops would be utilized as an additional force to confiscate firearms and police America. That's from Black Helicopters Over America, Strike Force for the New World Order by Jim Keith. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I have a couple of topics I want to discuss. First is to highly recommend to you an article in Rolling Stone magazine, which pretty much explains how Goldman Sachs has been behind just about every economic problem that we've experienced in this country in the last, 15 years or something along those lines. How they orchestrated the housing bubble, how they orchestrated the rise in oil prices, how they orchestrated the derivatives and the credit default swap problem, the mortgage, subprime mortgage crisis, everything, and how they stand to benefit yet again from the from the cap and trade, because there's going to be, of course, billions, if not trillions, of dollars in money to be made in the cap and trade business with the buying of carbon credits. And I find the article to be extremely well researched and very well done, and of course it does put it very succinctly. And if you look at the aftermath of what happened with Wall Street and the bailouts that were orchestrated by the federal government, Goldman Sachs seems to be the winner in everything. And they also highlight the fact that should be realized in the financial markets as it is in the medical and pharmaceutical industry, that there is a revolving door between the administration's financial sector and that of Goldman Sachs, and how a lot of things that were orchestrated to the benefit of Goldman Sachs in the government were in fact carried out by former quote-unquote Goldman Sachs employees who are now in the service of the federal government. And then you also have the door revolving the other way, people leaving employment with the federal government and the Treasury Department, going to work at Goldman Sachs. So there is that reciprocity which dooms the pharmaceutical industry or the pharmaceutical regulatory industry in this country to failure, because you have the revolving door policy with pharmaceuticals, the same way you have it in the financial sector between Goldman Sachs and the whatever current administration that you have. So I highly recommend that article. It is very well done. So if you get a chance to read it, please do so. The other thing I want to talk about is California, their imminent collapse for no funds. And I want to point out to you a couple of things that you need to bear in mind. First of all, I think that the government, the federal government, not coming to the aid of California by giving them a bailout in order to enable them to function is certainly planned. There is nothing that happens in politics that is purely coincidence or by chance. FDR was famous for saying that. Everything that happens happens for a reason. And the reason this is going on could be for one of two reasons. Either the federal government will allow California to go down the drain, thereby frightening other states with the same prospect, or they will bail them out at the last possible minute. And I think that this will be used as a tool to counteract this movement towards state sovereignty. I was thinking about this the other day, and I think that the recent times of the state sovereignty movement that is passing through this country, in which states are trying to reassert their rights that they have under the Constitution in order to throw off the shackles of the federal government with too much onerous regulation and tampering in state affairs, that once the federal government gets into the business of bailing out states, like they may or may not do with California, they may let California fall as an example to others, so that others will come, you know, begging to have the federal government interfere in their state finances, and therefore, you know, either way, it's going to work to that benefit, whether they let California fail or whether they bail them out at the last possible second. That's going to send a message to other states, and I do believe this is going to be used in that direction. I think down the road we're going to see a test case come before the Supreme Court, perhaps, where this entire idea is challenged. And I think that the Supreme Court is going to side in the favor of the federal government. It doesn't matter who's on the fucking court, it's going to happen. They're going to decide that, you know what, you state, whatever you happen to be, you've been taking federal aid in this particular department for all these years. You can't now assert your sovereignty. You've given it up. So in this sense, it's going to be a thrashing of a couple of amendments of the Constitution. And you should expect this. And you should expect this kind of activity with other states in this country. And California is just going to be the first. This will be a test case, as it were, for whatever's going to happen with the final telling in this economic disaster we're going through right now. So keep your eyes on California and realize that there's an agenda behind this, and it's going to come to pass one way or the other. Thank you. Good night.